The Shaymin raid got a small update. I'm not going to go over every detail in the fight with this video, just the changes. If you want all of the details, they're in the previous video, which I'll link in the description, as well as the raid info doc that I link in all of my raid videos. So for changes, first I'll go over the base stats of the boss were changed to be in line with the Skyform stats. So importantly, its attack was raised, its speed was raised from base 100 to 127, so that comes out to base speed of 271 for the boss in the battle. Its defenses also were lowered from 100 each to 75 each. So overall, you'll be doing more damage to the boss, but it will be hitting harder and faster. And then interestingly enough, its typing was changed from mono grass to grass flying. So that does make ice much more viable, but there is a quirk because if Skyform Shaymin is frozen, it gets reverted to its land form. So if you're using ice type offense and you get a freeze, you can effectively end the run with a freeze because it will lose that 4x effectiveness, making you do much less damage with ice type attacks. So definitely viable, but I'm still going to recommend Sun as more people have this and it's a bit more reliable in my opinion. And we'll go over the cheat sheet quickly before getting to the battle, just so you can get an idea of what those changes are now. There was a small change after the publication of the video. We elected to go with Ninetales twice. So we use a damaging item on Ninetales, something like Charcoal, Expert Belt, or Flame Plate, just one of the 20% items to Weather Ball the Braviary. There is a very, very small chance that the Braviary lives on 1 HP due to a roll. So this negates that roll. If you just want to reset and not deal with the second Ninetales, that's perfectly fine too. This just makes it so that you don't have to deal with the Braviary potentially living and resetting due to that. We still have the same layout on the left side for players 1 and players 2. You are still eruptioning and heat waving for the entirety of the battle. Then on turn 3 is the first change, the slow fire Chesto. So that means that your slowest Pokemon on turn 3 will need to use a Chesto. Previously, we weren't doing enough damage to proc the sleep until the very end of turn 3. Now, because we're doing more damage due to the boss having lower special defenses, it will proc at the 4th move of turn 3. So the slowest Pokemon needs to have a Chesto Berry to wake up and do damage. Then on turn 5, we have a Murkrow using Scary Face and a Whimsicott using Tailwind. I have heard scarce reports that Whimsicott can actually get Seed Flared. It seems to be more uncommon than Murkrow though, so still a risk. Seems to be a risk with any strategy though, because you will have to be using Prankster Tailwind pretty much no matter what. Finally, on turn 6, we have the second Ninetales setting Sun. Again, this is because we had that Ninetales using a damage type item instead of a Heat Rock, and that Ninetales with Overheat should be doing damage cap. Ours went last and did 5.2%, but I believe that's still going to be a 6% from that Ninetales. So everything pretty much plays out the same. We'll just show you what it looks like. Recording starting slightly late here, but the turn 1 is exactly the same, other than the additional item from the last video, but that was changed shortly after the video. We have the Expert Belt on Ninetales just to ensure that Braviary doesn't live on 1 HP. 2 eruptions go off, and we set Tailwind. We're doing a little bit of extra damage because the base stats, again, are slightly lower. Its base defense is lower compared to the landform. So that extra damage starts to add up. That's why we need that Chesto Berry on turn 3 here coming up. Jirachi works fine as a gravity user because it baits Earth Power there. And then, of course, the Smeargle is heal blocking. We have the Emboar is our slowest Mon. It's using Overheat. It's actually especially attacking Emboar. That's fine. It's just one of our slower attackers. Your Link will just have to work out which is your slowest turn 3 attacker. You'll put Chesto on that just to ensure that you get damage. It does have to be on the right side, though. It's much preferred to do the damage with one of the single target Mons rather than one of the Overheat, or sorry, Heat Wave rather Mons. Don't confuse your Overheats and your Heat Waves. I have clicked Overheat more times than I care to admit. It's very important that you click Heat Wave always on the left side. You don't need to do any tricky stuff trying to figure out if you can get the damage off anymore. We're doing so much more damage between the defenses being lowered. So you can just click Heat Wave very reliably with P1 and P2 to get all the damage that you need. Item distribution can be a bit important, but there is enough damage to go around despite the fact that we are using Scary Face on this turn coming up here. That is 1 turn of damage lost. It's more than made up for with the overall damage increase. So we've got Overheat from Infernape and the Houndoom. We Scary Face. It has to be a Prankster Scary Face in order to outspeed the boss. And then we Pranksters Tailwind to go with it. And the boss is now below 24%. I think it's at about 21%, which gives us just enough damage. The Wise Glasses Volcarona does a little bit less damage than we'd like here. If we just gem that, it would not even be close. So you may need to gem. You can probably get away with not gemming if you have things like Heatran or Entei clicking Eruption. But overall, very similar. Just need to have speed control for the end, and that's about it. If you're curious, we did not use Thunder Wave in case you burn the boss. Thunder Wave is an option, though, if you want to risk the burn on it. So good luck with the new Shaymin fight. Very similar, and have a good one.